So now moving on to number 7, we see we've got another triangle, and we've got some things to determine about this triangle. And we're directed to find the measures of DO and OG, as well as the angle, the measure of angle D and the measure of angle G. And then from that, we're going to draw some conclusions. So let's go ahead and try to determine what is the measure of DO and OG. So follow along with me if you can, and let's measure DO. So DO seems to be just about 2 1/4 inches. Okay, give or take a tiny bit. It's pretty close to 2 1/4 inches. And OG is also 2 1/4 inches, give or take a small amount. Might be slightly off, but the goal is to try to show that these are both 2 1/4 inches, give or take a small margin of error. So we've got both DO and OG equal each of them to 2 1/4 inches. So what kind of triangle is this then? It's an isosceles triangle, right? We've got two sides that are equal, and clearly the third side is not equal. So the next thing we need to do is measure the angle of D and the measure of angle G. So let's go ahead and measure D. So I've got to remember how to do my measurement. I've got to line up the sight at the bottom of the protractor with the vertex. I've got to adjust the base, and you can see it's pretty much exactly 20 degrees. Okay, so the measure of angle D is 20 degrees. And let's take a look at the measure of angle G. So here the measure of angle G, well, we've got a number of ways we can do this. If we want to try to use the same scale, we can line this up inside here. Make sure I see exactly where I'm supposed to line up, just about over there. And I can make sure my baseline coincides, and you'll see, again, bullseye, 20 degrees. So we've got the measure of angle G is also 20 degrees. Isn't that interesting? Okay, we've got two equal sides, and we've also got two equal angles. So the conclusion from part A is that this is an isosceles triangle, which is another way of saying that two sides have equal measure. You can just write that down over here. Two sides have equal measure. Okay. And the conclusion from part B is that the measure of angle D equals the measure of angle G, right? They're both equal. That's the important thing to notice. So we've got an isosceles triangle, which is defined as two sides that are equal, that we're also finding out apparently has two angles equal as well. So let's go ahead and talk about some vocabulary words. The legs of an isosceles triangle. Okay, the legs of an isosceles triangle are the two equal sides. Okay, so this is basically the two equal sides. And in this specific example, the legs would be DO and OG. Okay. The vertex of the isosceles triangle, and we'll be continuing this on the next video.